Scout Alabama. What do you think of them?
I think they're a really good club that that's gotten older. You could see when all these kids were freshmen. The two middle infielders, Salem and center. All these guys when they were young, they're really good players. But you just knew they needed some experience. They've got some experience, and they're good. They're very athletic. They can defend the field. They got some guys in the middle of their order who can really hit, and they got a power arm on the front end. They got the left-hander who has great pitchability in the middle. So they're a good club. They, like everybody else, they've played some close games. They probably haven't won as many as they wanted to recently, but they've been playing very, very good teams. A lot of your success can be wrapped around who you're playing and when you're playing them. They played a Florida club that was on fire. They won 11 in a row, and then they go to LSU and play really well there. They don't play the third game. So it's a very, very good team. It's going to be a great challenge for us.
John, when you move Ross to the rotation, the start of SEC play, how big of a factor is the emergence of Lucas Laster to have that second lefty with Jacob in a matchup situation?
It's just been huge, and the real commonality with all this is in the fall we have somebody that doesn't have a very good fall, and Butch Thompson stays with him, and they end up being pretty daggum good, and that's Lucas Lassiter. And Lucas has just been phenomenal. Just watching him on film, our whole staff watched every pitch that he threw on Sunday, and the quality of his pitches is really good. Even more so than just the velocity, the spin, the rotation of his breaking ball, the way he shaped his pitches. We have a saying, and that's the hitter will tell you everything you need to know about the quality of your pitches. And he got some pretty bad swings at a time when we needed him to. So he's really proud of the progress he's made.
When did you realize that he made that turn this season? Because I know that you said that he really improved.
I think the big moment was Butch had every time we had a meeting, he said, "Hey, we need to get Laster in the game. Like, we need to get him going." And I just kept saying, "The guy in the fall who couldn't get anybody out, that guy, you want?" He's like, "Yeah, he's done some things in the pen, and he's lowered his slot, and let's do some things there." And I think at LSU, we had a Sunday where we did not play very well. And I thought he was very good. I thought he was kind of the one shining guy out of our bullpen on that day. And so when you got that opportunity, you move on to the next one. And then he has a couple of midweeks that are really good. One of them's Ole Miss. I thought he pitched very well. He hit 4 or 5 guys against Ole Miss, but he's trying to get to the inner half, and he's really driving the baseball on the inner half. So, I think Lucas has just really turned the corner, and I think he's a much more confident young man right now.
Is it intentional or unintentional to pair him with Ross, and let him kind of see how this works and develop that way, and now you're getting what you're getting out of him now?
Yeah, the thing that's different is, for whatever reason, there are very few teams in our league that hit lefties as well as they do right-handers statistically. Alabama overall, a little bit better versus right-handers, a little bit, but in the league, they're a little bit they're not as good against left-handers in the league. Overall, they're better against left-handers. But in our league, there's something about the left-hander and the success that they've had.
I just meant as a throwing partner in practice.
Yeah,
letting him watch
absolutely.
How to do this.
Yeah, I think anytime you have older kids who have success, it helps the program. It becomes these coachable moments when coaches aren't around. That's how you turn around a program. That's how a program starts to take off, is having those guys. Many of those guys are on the wall of this room. When I played at Mississippi State, every one of us wanted to be Rafael Palmeiro, Will Clark. And those guys were visible. They were there. You could see them. So those people are really important. And when you have a guy who went 13-0 last year, and you're left-handed, you say, "Man, I kind of want to be like this guy." And certainly, that's what the Ross Mitchells do for you.
Can you talk about the work that Jacob's been able to do out of the bullpen? He's been named to a couple watch lists and the Ferris Trophy finalist. Can you just talk about his improvement from starter to really?
It's fun to watch him from the dugout. Our kids just have this overwhelming feeling that we're going to win the game when he's in there, and they get fired up because, he can get swing and miss and punch people out, and he can throw up a 95 up on the scoreboard there. But what's really fun is the next day when you get to watch it on film from behind home plate, because his stuff's electric. in 23 years, I haven't seen a breaking ball in my dugout or in the other team's dugout quite like this, and I've seen some great ones. David Price is one of the best I've ever seen. Different type of breaking ball. But, I mean, this guy's got big league stuff, and it's fun to watch him. It's fun to watch how confident he is. At any point in time, you know what, command or not having a good day, everybody can have a bad day. But his body of work this year overall is pretty special. And, you know, what he's done for us has been pretty neat.
Another shorted week, but again, you know, Trevor didn't throw a lot of pitches Friday night, so he should be okay for Thursday.
Yeah, I in a perfect world, I would love to be able to keep those guys on Friday, Saturday, and just come up with a starter for Thursday. And that's not out of the realm of possibility. We're still going to work on that. But, you know, to move those two guys up, I'm just not crazy about that. I want to keep them in the same spot. But, you know, the one thing about Ross that we love is we feel like he helps the starter the next day, you know. And if you put him on the tail end of this thing, then he doesn't have a guy behind him. So we'll wait and see. I think it's so much easier after you watch him play up close and personal one day. But, you know, we'll start with Trevor, we think, unless it changes in the next couple of hours, and see where it goes from there.
But you have more options, obviously, because now you have a Lucas, and you have a Vance Tatum.
Right. See, Lucas is the guy you'd love to be able to start on the Thursday and keep the other two guys in line with where they are. But you can't do that to him because he threw so many pitches on Sunday. So even to bring him back on Saturday, you know, it's kind of shorting him a little bit. So, yeah, that certainly helps. Preston's a guy who could fit into Thursday. You know, don't know if he'd be able to cover. I think he threw 32 pitches, something like that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Can you even allow yourself to even think about the possibility that you may have to play on Tuesday or Wednesday the next week, and how you use guys this week?
Right. I mean, that's something you have to keep in the back of your mind. But for right now, we've got to win baseball games. That's so important for what we're doing. So, again, Tuesday is an issue, Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever we play. But we're going to do whatever we can to win game one on Thursday. I mean, whatever it takes, and then we'll just let everything else take care of itself.
What's it been like for you this season, having to fill out a different lineup card and changing the orders and trying to get something to work like that almost every single game?
You know, I get that question a lot, and I look at everybody's lineup around the league, the top 25 teams. Everybody's doing that. You know, everybody's looking for the best matchup, and I think the reason that happens is we're in a little bit of the dead ball, dead bat era of college baseball, and everybody's trying to, you know, maneuver. So it's very rare when everybody's keeping everything the same all the time. So, yeah, I mean, it's just something you do. You manage. You're constantly listening to what the players are saying, how they're reacting to certain things in practices, and you put the best nine out there you can.
Does the era kind of like force you to coach more maybe than just the same lineup, go out there, guys, you take care of?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly different than Major League Baseball. Yeah. You know, that's funny when you talk to neighbors and friends; they're always relating what you're doing to the big leagues, and it's kind of like taking, you know, if you have a daughter in the 8th grade and comparing her to somebody who's in college. You know, I mean, they're different human beings. They're different stages of development. Our kids are 18 to 22 years old. The guys in the big leagues are 28 to 32 years old. They really are in control of their body a little bit more on a baseball field and have seen a lot more. So it's just different. It's a different style. You know, none of our kids are playing for a contract for next year in terms of multi-year or anything like that. I mean, it's just such a different world. These kids want to win. They want to get to Omaha. They want to compete as hard as they can. And it's and to make that happen, to go back to your original question, you know, you have to constantly maneuver, you know, to try and make that happen.
John, how's Wes kind of been about sitting, and what's his role in a postseason type situation for you?
Yeah, I think Wes's attitude has just been phenomenal. You know, there's nobody more supportive on a bench when he's not playing. Gosh, I remember Detsy. I can't remember. He had a big home run for us, and he pinch hit for Wes, and and Wes was the first guy off the bench to go congratulate him. And Wes is a great leader, and sometimes you don't have to be on the field to be a great leader. You're great support, you know, and he's just been phenomenal. And I think he's handled everything very well. I think he's a young man that's put a lot of pressure on himself. There's a lot of expectation that he's put on himself and by our fans and everything else. And, you know, I think the home run he hit on Sunday was huge. Might get him going in that direction, a little bit more confidence. And I think defensively he played really well on Sunday. So, you know, I think he could for us, I've said this all along, for us to be as good as we can be down the stretch, he's going to have to be a factor, and he was really a factor on Sunday.
We made such a big deal of Brett Pearl being a cleanup guy last year, but Seth Heck takes it to another level there,
Yeah.
just to exemplify the matchups you're looking for.
Yeah, Seth is not a cleanup guy, but I tell you what, he's really swung the bat well and not had a lot to show for it. He's also a guy who's made 3 errors and during the course of a very long season, and he's also a guy who's made 2 errors in 27 conference games. And I say that knowing that anything could happen this weekend, but that guy's been so steady for us in so many different ways. He's also never made a B at Mississippi State after 2 semesters. So he's special, and he's done a lot for us.
When you look at, as I talked about the lineup changes, and then you go to the pitching rotation too, that's been shuffled with injuries and whatnot, what's this year kind of been like for you trying to make everything work with all the kind of hurdles you've kind of...
That's just what we do, and I'm not doing this alone. I feel like I have the best assistants you could possibly have in Butch Thompson and Coach Mingione and Coach Wells. All of our guys, we're constantly talking. Everybody has a different opinion, and we listen to it, and we try to make the best decisions we can. Sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes we're right. I have a ton of respect for people who run organizations. When I became a head coach in the Southeastern Conference 11 years ago, because every person who runs any organization, they make good decisions and they make not so good decisions, and you have to live by them and you learn from them. I think that's the key, is you're just constantly trying to learn from the people that you work with.
With all the adjustments and stuff that you've been made, what does it say, I guess, about the team or the organization that you're right there for maybe a first place spot in the division or maybe even in the SEC?
Well, to take it a step further, the fact that we're 6-0 and extra inning, I think it says a lot about our leadership, about the kids that we have. There's no panic. There's no, our kids just keep playing. We're down 3, we keep playing. We have a 3-1 lead, we keep playing. We've had pretty good numbers with having leads in the last, whatever it is, 3 or 4 years. But we've also had good numbers being behind and coming from behind, almost unsurmountable, runs behind. Our kids just don't give in. They don't quit. And I think a lot of that has to do with their work habits, the way they were raised, and the unit that they formed together.
Do you like the idea of taking this team on the road? I mean, obviously you go to Alabama this weekend, you go to Hoover, probably go on the road for a regional, but it seems like these kids react to being on the road a little bit better.
They have played well on the road. There's no question. I've really enjoyed the way they've reacted to playing on the road, but they love playing at home too. So, there's something neat about going on the road. You look at it as a challenge. Everything's going against you, but that's for everybody who goes on the road. But I think they've enjoyed it. I think, our last couple of times on the road, our kids have been successful and played well. So, you're going to use whatever you got at that moment. That's one thing we got going for us, is the fact that we have played well on the road recently.